Everyone will be starting shortly. Please bear with me as I get it all set up. Okay, that's all done. What's this? Sounds picked up. Everything seems to be good. So let us begin. Hi everyone, welcome to another stream. And the first for this week, we are continuing with the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time, we had started the trial against Gina Lestrade. And we are going to, after having got the jury back onto our side, we're going to try and prove her innocence. Especially now that the two thieves that were there that shot Mr. Sholmes is there. We might have to prove that they had something to do with it. But we shall find out what happens. Maybe they're not involved. Maybe they were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But they still shot Sholmes, so that's like 3 S's there. Anyway, we're going to do that. I don't know how long this part is. Apparently it's got to have a lot of the meat of the case today. So we shall see how long we go. I'm going to try just to go to a minimum or a maximum of 2 hours today. Just so we can keep within that if we can. But we'll see. Other than that, hope everyone had a nice weekend. Mine was alright. I had fun. And yeah, without further ado, let us switch over to the game and begin. I want to get right into it. There, sound is fine. Switching the stream as usual, so we can never be up to date. Hello, Refatron, welcome. I mean, the trial is against Gina Lestrade, so it's not wrong. We're going to put you in prison unless you've got a defendant. I will be the defense. Oh, man. Okay, yeah, everything seems good. Continue. Whee! Trial part 2. I'm gonna try and get all my voices back again. Woo! Like every time. Why is he bent over the table that much? Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. I want fish and chips today. I presume you've heard the defense counsel's summation examination. Oh, yeah, Governor. I did, Gov, I did. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Cool, blimey! This is going to be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Winterbanks. Well, it was Bedlam soon as it, weren't it? It was, Nash. It was. I didn't even have time to pull my dues out of my pockets. However, that was a lie. Your brother, you brothers, your brothers! Like, yes, I know. Cool, blimey! On the night in question, you rifled through the items at the victim's counter. We ain't never nothing of the sort. How'd you figure that out? You will now give your formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened in the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, ladies and gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. Jiggy. A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Say no more, Gov. We hear ya. We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll peach. Witness testimony. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rightfully nut for nothing. It was when we heard the gunshots, see? Made us both jump when all that stuff went flying. Let me, it ain't half give me a fright. We was thinking that shooter would come out the door and get us next. We stuck everything back when we found it and scampered straight into the black. Couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? What happened there? We never had a chance. We never had a chance, did we? So he admitted the defence's accusation. You did indeed ransack Mr. Winterbank's countertop on the night in question. Not ransack, Governor, no. That's right, Nash. That's right. It's more like we tidied up, yeah. The voices keep changing. Sorry. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled, hearing the gunshots, having made first good their mess. The way you say it, we hardly sound like roughs at all. We don't, Nash, we don't. Can't you make us sound a bit more cutthroat? It can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at the Winterbanks that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. Either we just keep including him even though he's not a part of this.
Hold it!
If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place? Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we? We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we admitted to something like that, people would think we was up to no good. All said, Ringo, you're China. We only land ourselves in even more trouble. And in fact, now as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. You've landed yourself in even more trouble. That's rotten luck. Says the rotten apple eater. Witnesses, explain your action to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter? You ain't never ransacked nothing. Right, Nash, right? Won't let me tidy up the place. Sorry. All the budget went into this man's cheeks, just like it did with the previous one.
Hold it!
So, what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much you knocked all those things off the counter? Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah? This big of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on. Look, it was loud, all right? Blimey, we meet that granny who could have woken up with that bag. Big brother here screamed like a bloomin' baby and fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books and a candlestick and some skull whatnot. It got tangled in some marionette. What knocked over a picture frame? What knocked over them scales on the floor? You've really mastered the work quietly then. What a racket! My granny and I would have been scared into a grave at a clatter like that. So, in short, the gunshot took you by surprise. And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and then sudden bam! Close your mouth when you're eating.
Excuse me!
Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add? I keep saying I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels! No, something to add about their testimony? You seem to react just now at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did you make you think of something? There's probably nothing, of course. Wouldn't even be bothered to mention it, only Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? And that's a lie because you were willing to overlook details because it was an open and shut case before. As you know, we brought these fellas in from the yard for questioning last night. And the statement they gave, they told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Did it? You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Might have, Gov, might have. It does ring a bell now you mention it. Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. I can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas? If I discover the witness's testimony has been more sloppy than it was hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. Execution. Easy, easy. We'll get right in this time. That's it, yeah. This all come back to me now. Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs. Right you are, Gov. Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun!"
Hold it!
So, in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously? We did, Gov, we did! We did. Although, I suppose if you're being honest, you heard a kind of wavering voice before they're yelling all. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun! Bam! Kind of thing. A career in acting tragically missed. Wherever the voice is coming from, could you tell? Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was. In the storeroom, the victim was found dead. And the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Winterbank. On my granny's life, course it was. On his granny's life, of course it was. So that would mean that you both knew Mr. Winterbank and the sound of his voice. So that would mean what? What, Nash, what? What need ideas? Yes, counsel, indeed it would. Nah. We didn't know the geezer. What are you talking about? How am I supposed to deny when that bloke and old Fritzy Globber giving us the evil eye? If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true. On my granny's life it is. On its granny's life it must be. It's a good job his granny's dead. To summarize then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then hear a gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor. You make it sound like we're clumsy. Don't forget, we tied it up after like good little boys. Anyway, the way I see it. Good little boys, okay. Now, what am I stepping on? Sorry about that. I kept feeling something under my feet and it was distracting me.
Hold it!
How did they know there was a girl in there? I've seen that Mr. Winterbank had the gun in his hands. Oh yeah, bet that was a sight, eh? Them two waving their guns at each other must have been a pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted out, we heard the geezer say, "If you don't want to get shot." Didn't really sound like he meant it, man. More of an empty threat, you could say. Mr. Winterbank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. To say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. That someone being himself, of course. Good grief! Extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person was gonna beat him into it. Cooked his goose proper. Then he wished to squeeze the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun." And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot. It was more or less the same thing, Gov. "Give me that gun!" Kind of thing. Yes, a career in acting, very tragically missed. We heard the sound coming hitting the deck before everything went dead quiet. After that, we done slap a slip dosh, hiding place. I can't. Why was that so hard to say?
Hold it!
So, you didn't try to open the storeroom door then? Well, not on your life. It went deathly quiet after that, it did. But had the right wind right out of me. Anyway, the door was locked, weren't it? No way the door was opening. That was opening. But yes, of course, it was locked from the inside, so we've been led to believe. It was gone if it was from the inside. Whoops. Must have been too close to that. Right, so we had no way of knowing what was going on inside there, did we? Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside of the storeroom. Like through the keyhole or a spy hole, perhaps? Don't ring no bells, don't light no lights. We had to cut and run before we decided anything like that. We're still cutting our teeth to the game, see? But one day, we really cut the mustard. Please, cut it out. As we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body with the accused not 2 feet away. Yes, unfortunately. Gina was in there, unconscious, with the gun in her hand. Would it be correct that neither of you set foot inside the store? That's right, Gov, that's right. I couldn't have, even if we wanted to. We took everything back where we found it and scarfed it straight to the back. Ah, my fingers are stuck.
Hold it!
Yes, whereupon you fired a shot from your own gun at Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Oh, yeah, it was a bit hasty there. It wasn't as we was. The truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you turned up. If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hand. Good advice, miss, good advice. The truth be told, my mind went totally blank. Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand. Mental note made, miss. And then they died. She blew it out with a bazooka. After that, we legged it down the street. Apparently, we were looked dodgy by the coppers or something. So they clapped the derbies on us and like winking. After you were handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession. Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, but listen, that proves it. Done it, eh?
Hold it!
And why should we believe that? What? Well, because it's true, isn't it? The place was totally empty when we went inside. At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused who had a gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbroker, Mr. Windybank. Correct. Oh, you got it, mister! Down to a T! So the skulking brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windybank. Is that really true, I wonder? I mean, they would have had to have knew who he was in order to know who his voice was. That's it? The full extent of their testimony? What is it, Bruno? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired. Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'd probably laugh. But I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something. Something important. There's nothing more than a feeling, though. I've got no proof to support it. Iris is the true Eeper. she Eepy. I know you meant Reaper. Still, she's the Eeper. Well, feelings can be very logical at times. sorry. People's expressions, the movements of their eyes, the words they choose. You take all that in and your brain will quietly analyze it to come up with the feeling you like you described. You've concluded that there's something suspicious about this testimony without knowing why, that's all. I think you should trust your instincts. Iris, thank you. I mean, we were going to do that anyway, but thanks. Sometimes I think if she's 10 years old, I must be 5. You are just a little baby, aren't you? Okay. So... just before the gun shop, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun." The bloke we owned the place was holding a gun and should have fired instead of yelling at the girl. But then, how would they know that if they said they couldn't see it? Dummy didn't give half a fright, just scooted. Took everything back where we found it. Jones is the EP one right now. Yeah, because for now, we know that the guy was not holding a gun at all. It was her that was holding a gun. So where did he get the gun from? But the problem is that how do I prove that? Or ask that question? Guess this one?
Objection!
No. The witness' statement is clearly odds with the piece of evidence. I'm sorry, counsel, but I fail to see the connection. Oh! And for heaven's sake, would you kindly desist from that wide-eyed, panic-stricken look you want to wear? But it's the only panic-stricken look I know. Pan, broken ticket, representation, broken ticket coat, blood samples, manuscript, the gilded casements. Bullet wound in the back. I mean, I guess this could be it because it shows he was shot in the back rather than from facing her. But I guess the picture could also make sense because there she's holding the gun. But Doge is tired of his BS. Yeah. Let's go with this one first.
Objection!
Oh, I was right. Okay. You're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Wendebank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct? That's it, Goff. You've got the picture. He was now, she was. No question. And yet the photographic evidence for the time of the incident clearly shows that Mr. Wendebank was not in possession of a firearm of any description.
Objection!
You surprise me. Does the defense really intend to highlight evidence that compromises the permission of the accused even more? Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photographic print presented was taken a suitably short time prior to the victim's death. Your chronology is severely lacking, counsel. Yeah, that's right. Too right, Nash, too right. The old geezer could have been turntables on the girl, eh? Hardly likely. No, I'm afraid this won't stand as conclusive evidence. Who said it was conclusive? I'm literally just proving that the guy didn't have a gun, and it even said there was no evidence of a struggle. Continue with the cross-examination, counsel, and heed my earlier warning, witness. I guess I have to find something else first? A skulkin's never skulkin'.
Hold it!
skip. Come on. The skulkers are too powerful. Yeah. Before. You have to put the 2 prints in here to start with, you see. And then when you look through the eyepieces, you can see the image in 3 dimensions. The important thing is to get it right, is the position of the 2 prints. I don't know who came up with the idea of a stereoscope, but it really is fascinating. Can I open it? There we go. Oh, look at that! It's totally changed shape. Little button press. Well, that is the button for what the button's for, Runo. You're like Hurley, you boys love pressing buttons, don't you? Especially if you don't know what they do. Us boys? That's the 10-year-old girl. Anyway, now you can see that it really is a stereoscope, can't you? I would like to pop in 2 prints, please. No, I don't want to... There's the young girl.
Objection!
No. Let's consider the implications of that statement for a moment, shall we? What implications, Council? Nothing strikes me about it. Exactly, there's nothing striking about it. What does strike me is your propensity for the inane, however. I need to clear my head and come up at this again from a different angle. Not exactly sure what I'm supposed to be presenting then, because I presented the most obvious thing, and they were like, no, you're wrong. I'm like, oh, okay then. You go through each one. No. Got me to take this game for seconds. Redemption tickets, blood indicators, side. Just looked at that. That's just the news, and then that's the other one on the other side. Finger bullet wounded upper left half of victim's back. Instant death from prostitute. Pretty sure I looked at this. Yeah, because I can skip things. don't know. Just the one thing that I was presenting has stumped me now, because it's like, well, if I'm supposed to present something else first, where am I? Get us out. I actually don't know. We're in the place for sorting guns, so we could have just fired the guns that were yelling at her. They should have come at the door and get us next. Stuck everything back where we found it and scarpered straight to them in the black. We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never had a chance, did we? Alright, I'm gonna need some help here, guys. This is the first time asking. Because I don't know where I'm supposed to be going for this. I don't need you to tell, like... I just need a direction pointing. Just say which one I'm supposed to be going on. Because I did the first one I saw, which was the most obvious, and they were like, no, that's wrong. This one. So I don't know if I need to do something before this, or I need to do something after this. If I'm supposed to examine something more first. Put something in here. Now. Strangely, the latch is not there when you look at it. I guess no one knows. That the shot in the back part already? No, but I didn't show that. I talked about it, but I didn't show it because I thought it'd be the same thing.
Objection.
Okay, I guess they're not. Thank you. I did mention it, I just didn't think it would matter because they would mean the same thing, but I guess not. So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Winterbank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct? This feels like the same. That's it, Gov. You got the picture. He asked no question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Winterbank was not holding a firearm in any description. Hey, you what? Oh, bit it, right?
Objection.
There can be no question that Victor's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Winterbank was found at the scene. Not only has it been identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused hands. Yeah, that Mole-tooler? What the hell's a Mole-tooler? That Mole-tooler used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun! Kind of thing.
Hold it!
Stay exactly where you are, right there. If the victim had taken place as you so colourfully described in your testimony, it would have given rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out. Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me. Let's see where's some evidence to support your claim. Where is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the final moments? Will I have to just present this again? Because it's from the back. Or is it from this? Sure, yeah, wound from the back. There you go.
Take that!
According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot. Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe. Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Trying to do two voices saying the same thing. But it's the God honest truth. It is not, it is. It was shot that night. The shopkeeper had a gun in his hand and saw it with her own bleeding eyes. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Winterbank holding a gun? Something that might have slipped out. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission of these two witnesses that on the night in question, they actually saw with their own eyes the victim wielding a gun, which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person. Nash, yeah. Order. Witnesses, explain yourself at once. Well, the thing is, we weren't supposed to. Oh, he's getting serious now. It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witnesses would be the death of you. I might understand that you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies. Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is, see, we, Cut it out, Nash, cut it out! If you blab now, you know what he'd do to us. He? Who are they talking about? You make your position here perfectly clear. We'll talk. There is no other option available to you. Bruv, come on, the game's up! We'll have our guts up for quarters! In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. On the night in question, it is now apparent that your brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place. You like saying order, don't you? Not really. It's because it's written out like that, I have to draw it out. Well... Do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Encounter with the victim. Alright, so we just got inside the gaff. Used to sigh relief when the geezer showed his mug. Give me that gun, we bellowed. And then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we'd had it. Our old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. I poured him a gun on him and then he legged it and through that door in the back room. He never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all that happened, I swear. So you're telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the story, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop? Well, yeah. Sorry. Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably. But honest, Governor, this time, we ain't got nothing more to hide. Very well, counsel for your defense. You may proceed with your cross-examination. Destroy them. Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for. Yo.
Hold it!
When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Winterbank? Who else? Sorry, I mean that's right. He was keeping a close eye on the entrance with the gaff, obviously. But we never thought no one was going to come out of the back room like that. The back room being the pawnbrokery storeroom. Yeah, that must have been where they propped up from. Only place it could have been. So we see the victim was already in the storeroom when his brothers entered the premises. Which means Ginny must have been in there at that point as well. But that doesn't make sense, does it? If Gina had threatened Mr. Winterbank into the storeroom with her at gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I inhaled something when I was breathing in. Did you see the accused at that time? What? That mole told her? Couldn't tell you. No way, Cobber. We had bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it.
Hold it!
You mentioned that Mr. Winterbank shouted those words in your previous testimony too. However, you claimed that you heard him yelling at them at the other side of the storeroom door. Oh, yeah. Did we? But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Well, yeah. It's the victim, Mr. Winterbank, was using a gun at the time. What was he ever? Lummy limey. Or blimey lummy. A great ugly barrel he had pointed straight at my front piece. Frontispiece? So what you're saying is you definitely saw Mr. Winterbank with a gun at that time, is that right? It is, Gov, it is. Spot on. And all of a sudden he came at us. He did. It was bedlam. I don't know who was going on for who. We were clearly all going for each other. Like Nash said, we thought we'd had it. I mean... Yes, I know that you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony too. Well, yeah, of course we did. Knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot. I got tangled up in some marionettes, knocked over some furniture frame, knocked some scales on the floor. So in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter. Well, Big Brother here went flying over the counter like a gunshot, I can tell you. And the old geezer pinned him. He did, Nash, he did. If you hadn't been there, the block would have flattened me like a blooming pancake in seconds. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the call. There was a button on the counter that was deactivated, which was presumably pressed by the victim. That's right. The brothers fled the scene and back onto the street. They ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they? Poor Mr. Winterbank. He did everything he could to protect the shop. I had noticed that his mustache is clipping into his mouth.
Hold it!
Were you intending to shoot Mr. Winterbank? No, never. I was just, looking out for my bruv, weren't I? He was being flattened, don't forget. By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes. And then, the man fled to the storeroom and he pointed a gun at him. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. He shoved me away and ran off through the door at the shop itself. There's something about that last remark. Something that doesn't quite ring true. I wonder why Mr. Winterbank ran right way into the storeroom. What? Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him with a gun. Yeah, that's right. Ginny allegedly used Mr. Winterbank's gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Winterbank's hands again? I have no idea, but that is strange, isn't it? This little inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it. Look, the point is, me and my brother here. That's right, that's right. Me and my brother.
Hold it!
You say you had nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Nothing, Gov, nothing. The old geezer would manage to shut himself in the back room, didn't he? Locked it was from the inside. It wasn't, you know it was. We tried to open it. But it's a decent door, that one. Good and strong. Wouldn't budge an inch. So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the store, the hall, there was only one other person. The sole person who could have possibly have shot the victim, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. It would indeed appear so. What say you to that, counsel? I don't know. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could have possibly shot Mr. Winterbank? I'm thinking, if I say that yes, it could have been them, then that would be inconsistent with the fact that they also shot Mr. Shows. But the gun was only shot once. Each gun was only shot once, so it wouldn't make sense. And we haven't established that there might be a third party here. Another third party. Correct. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. What? What's that look for? From the moment you admitted that you had encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely. It? What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer is, who could have shot Mr. Winterbank? And it is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer here. At all. Have my attention. In that case, let us return to this plan of the premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts, so pray, what other possible answer to the question? So for prey. What other possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in respect to the two conundrums. Two, my lord. Twice as many chances to be right, maybe? Just in case. Indeed. Namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim, and furthermore, where was the victim at the time? Understood, my lord. Are you alright, Runo? I'm not entirely sure, but there's one thing I am sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely. So now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this plan the answers to the question posed by his lordship. You believe someone else could have killed the victim? Indicate from where the person could have fired that gun.
Take that!
The defense believes the culprits could have shot the victim from this location here. In answer to the second question, assuming the culprit fired from the location indicated, where was the victim at the time?
Take that!
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Mr. Windermere died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Yeah, which I tried to take into account, because if he was outside, he would instantly just collapse. He wouldn't have time to shut the door. So that, to me, means that he was in the room, and then he got shot in the back, and then either Gina or someone else closed the door and locked it. Looking at the stain of the blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired? So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom? Well, according to the Skulking brothers' earlier testimony, I pulled my gun on him, and then he legged it through that door into the back room. Mr. Winamac ran away through the door. We have to assume that the door was open at the time. It was at precisely that moment when the victim was fleeing for his life that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom. Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial? Moving on to the findings of the Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states the bullet entered the body on a high-rising diagonal trajectory. It means that the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Feels weird watching this knowing where this is all gonna go. Okay. Poor man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety. Of course! He would have learned he had been leaning forward as he's running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have entered his body in an upward trajectory. So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Winderbank.
Objection!
I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten that the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as he fled from the room. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock? But what if someone else locked the door? Yes, there is someone else who could have locked the storeroom door. Is that so? Very well, very well, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion is that the victim was shot from the outside of the storeroom. In which case, who shut and locked the door to the inside?
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection!
That's absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room? For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. I am inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel. Yes, that's a tricky one, that, isn't it? Is that actually a wrong choice? Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please. But of course Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it? It does? Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked that door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars have just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they? Oh, yes, obviously. Why do you need the 10-year-old to tell you that? But before the two brothers arrived, Mr. Strand and Mr. Windibank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Windibank must have heard the intruders breaking into his shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv. If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Then, probably only minutes later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windibank fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves now is what would the defendant have done in that moment? I see where you're going with this. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windibank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it. In order to save her own life.
Hold it!
Hold it! But I mean, we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't, Cub, we ain't. Believe us. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on, we never shoots no one.
Objection!
That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Sherlock Holmes. There is only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators to Mr. Windibank's murder. Where does this leave us? You mean to say it wasn't the pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker at all? They should have known that those three brothers, they look as shady as a defense first. Or whatever. That was amazing, Bruno. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now. I know, first time ever, but probably the last. Well, I think you've done it. Surely they've got to give you a verdict, if not... An admirable effort, my learned friend. What's this now? He's laughing? You find the situation amusing, Lord Van Zeeks? I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive. I dare say. Such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers of your provincial eastern nation. But such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pettifoggery here. What? A hypothesis you put forward so obsessively, credibly cannot and will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? What are you talking about? Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failing? I say, Lord Van Zeeks, might be an idea to explain this bally conjuring trick or whatever it is the troops on the ground. The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. I didn't even drink it. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. By George, count bullets? Oh dear. We noticed then. Huh? What's everyone talking about? Counsel. Yes, sir. Tell the court how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime. Two. 2 bullets. Correct. First, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene. Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appeared to have passed through his body to strike the calendar. I wonder if it's going to be the case where it's going to be that Gina accidentally shot Mr. Sholmes. Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, know that there are 2 firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Winterbeck, and the Skulking Brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, I learn it. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these 2 brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness. Crikey. Oh my goodness. I think you'll find. At least a single bullet was fired from the brother's gun to hit Mr. Sholmes and with me. Winterbank, not shot by the same gun. Stop. Only 1 bullet. Stop. Exactly. Yes, this Nipponese street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hope of standing up to scrutiny. Order, order, order! Bye! Whee! Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hallowed nectar into the public gallery. Lord Van Zeeks! But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can, regrettably, no longer be described as juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She is a past riddled with criminal conduct. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbroker on the night in question with loathsome intent. As we can see beyond a doubt in this print which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon. And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present. That disc! I'll be taking that, whatever it is, to Mr. McGilded down to the yard. Thank you very much. No, don't give it to him. It's mine. That's mine. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to Mr. McGilded has to be taken in as evidence now. You think he just kills someone every time he does that? Oh, you mean throw the glass bottle? Probably, yeah. It's like, no, he's hit Steve again. Yes, that music box disc. Mr. McGilded's music box disc. What? You have to say that 2 times? The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Winterbeck, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. With none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence. Good gracious! Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl would stoop if pushed, no crime she would not commit. The court forgets the fact that it's peril. I see. I think it would be rude to take this music box into evidence, counsel. As a grim testimony, defendant... Something. Lord Van Zeeks, Inspector Gregson? What? Yes, Inspector. We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service and, I think it was agreed that the disc wouldn't be used as evidence. What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting strangely? That's the first time he said anything to Van Zieks at all. They're carrying him out on a stretcher and it just hits him again. Yeah, I'm unaware of any such meeting. But those were the instructions right from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent. Inspector, I am the prosecutor and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted, thank you. Your warning is noted and duly ignored. Exactly what he's saying. Just wipe my screen. Ugh. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord. Indeed, bailiff. Music Box disc has been entered into court record. Screw the rules, I am the law. The prosecution has established the accused's motive, opportunity, and baseness of character. She was truly based. And she was full of riz. Does the court a skibbity? I hate this. Oh, I'm stopping this right now. Alright, let's examine this so we can actually be like, oh, hey, this has got the stuff on it. Oh, Runo, look. This is blood. Yes, you're right. Just a small smear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before. Then it's time to shine again. I thought it'd be waiting forever. Alright, hold still with that disc, Runo. Can we get this done quickly, Iris? I'm about to lose. In a flash. Is it going to turn? Green? Oh, it's a lovely shade, bright shade again. Wait, that colour. What is it? It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that colour, is it? Which should mean that the blonde Dio character was the one that did it. There's the McGilded sign for McGilded. That's the man you defended in court a couple of months ago, isn't it, Runo? Yes, or rather, mistakenly defended. I wonder what his name is doing on the back of this disc. That's a question I'd love to know the answer for myself. So, that would mean that the green blood that we saw on the calendar was actually the blood of the guy that tried to take the disc before, which is strange. That would mean... Okay, then. But Sholmes did get shot, so he might still have the bullet in him. Blood one. Music box unknown, green. Green. Interesting. Okay. Hey, Balroth. Never say those words again. There is nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once, and for all 5 minutes. Oh dear. It wasn't even for 5 minutes, Runo. My lord! I wonder if it might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about in a bit of a fog up to now, if truth be told, but all of a sudden... The answer's barely obvious to me and my men. There's only one thing for it. Oh no. Very well, the court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your learnings as the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
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 Guilty. We'll have to do another summation examination. We have consensus among the jury, it seems. You've eliminated the impossible. Whatever remains must be the truth. That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. How dare he use it against us? Don't worry, Iris. Don't think we're finished yet. There's still more to this case than we realize. There must be, because there's one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Winderbank. That's beyond any doubt. Very well. We'll proceed with the second summation examination of the day. I didn't need to say. He's just like, he just knows I'm going to do that. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready? Garrideb Squadron is primed and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have done, or you have now determined the defendant to be guilty. The jurors' contentions. I just had a thought. Wouldn't it be kind of funny? Or not funny? It'd be kind of cool. Well, not cool. I guess more narrative implications. Where if it would be like, the crowd is just like, another summation examination. This is getting ridiculous. It's obvious that the girl did it. There's no point in lying about it anymore. We should stop him. This is an old law. It's stupid. I hate it. Let's get rid of it. Once a rogue, always a rogue, I say. Different breed to us law-abiding citizens. As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted. Royke, I don't have a stereoscope to see the truth here. Every which way you look at it, ooh, that pickpocket. I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief. The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see him for a busy day ahead. I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about the guns. It would seem that there is little remaining room for doubt. I have to admit I was rather bowled over by the argument put forward by the chap in black. But when that fell apart like a house of cards, I saw that I'd jolly been well hoodwinked. Well, no more. The whole courtroom is turning against me. It's not fair, Iris. The prosecutor's being mean. Just because Ginny's done some things she shouldn't have done in the past. Her whole life is about doing things she shouldn't have done. Don't try and just be like, oh, just because she did 1 or 2 things. No, don't do that. Don't give her an out. She did bad things. She needs to pay for those. If she didn't do this crime, but that doesn't mean that we should just go, oh, she's a good person because we think she is. Never mind that she did other crimes and stole from people. Then they never learn. That doesn't make her a murderer. Allow me to savor this fruity vintage while I savor the spectre of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out eventually. That's enough preamble. Counsel, proceed with the summation examination. Oh, excuse me. Yes, my lord. The defense's rebuttal.
Hold it!
Just because Mr. Strahd has a history of pickpocketing, she must be guilty of murder. Is that what you're saying? Well, are all members of the British Army so quick to judge? I beg your pardon? Are you mocking Her Majesty's Armed Forces, the great military organization in the world? No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making assumptions about people because they're a soldier or a pickpocket is wrong and dangerous. Well, yes, that may have been a good point there, I suppose. Let's not forget the girl had already shown she had it in her before. She clearly had a criminal soul through and through. can't deny it. When you say that she'd shown me you'd hit it in her, are you referring to this? Exactly. She tried to swap that only a day earlier. Or am I mistaken? Not exactly. Given that I was actually there at the time, it's hard to refute that. I've never actually seen the real thing. Can't wait to have a closer look at it. Oh, yeah, of course. Mr. Sholmes did use his caramel bars to make a copy of the disc, didn't he? And then ordered every type of music box he could find from across Europe. We still don't know what tune it plays, though, do we? But I'd love to see how the original compares to Hurley's copy. A gilded disc. Could it be a clue somehow? Perhaps we should examine it in more detail. What he did.
Hold it!
It's the number of bullets that has he convinced. Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. When the parlour maid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings. Well, that's logical, I suppose. Although... Yes? Sometimes after dining, crockery goes missing. 1 or 2 guests rather like the fine china. Does your employer dine with thieves? So I suppose... if there was another bullet somewhere with which we were unaware, I'd have to reconsider my position. Third bullet somewhere in the scene. Could that be possible? Yes. But I don't know if I can prove it yet. Because now that I know that the bullet that's inside the calendar belongs to a different person, that means that the bullet that shot Sholmes is still inside him. But I don't know if I can prove that. I'm going to say I can. Screw it. Allow me to show you then the third bullet. Yeah, I can't show her the third bullet because I don't have that evidence to show it. Because I would need to have evidence of Sholmes himself. If only I could switch to like the profiles and be like, here, Sholmes. In charge of her defense. 4 samples of blood analyzed. I think I have to wait until either Sholmes shows up or something else comes up. So I have to... I'll just present this.
Take that!
Don't suppose this would pass as a third bullet? It passes for a bullet as much as you pass for a lawyer, my learned friend. Coming from you, I'm going to take that as a meaning not much. In no way does it resemble a bullet, if that helps your understanding of my last remark. Counsel, at the very least, I would expect the evidence you presented to be of the correct form. It's been a long day. Let's actually try to find this third bullet before we attempt that again, Runo. If you do that, you might break it. So, if I understood correctly, you need two pictures, a left one and a slightly different right eye one. Exactly. Crikey. You can see the scene in 3 dimensions like this. So, if we have 2 bullets, I don't suppose you can see anything useful with them? I think you'll find that no matter how much you squint, the truth of the situation always looks the same here. The only person who could have shot the victim is that girl in the duck. Whoa. How can you be so sure of that? Think about it. The Skulking brothers shot the great detective, didn't they? Yes, it's been mentioned once or twice. Well then, surely it's coming into focus now, ain't it? This is a waste of time. I'm not going to change this man's mind anytime soon. He's still on about the thing he's put inside a possible patient.
Hold it!
Would you please stop muttering about things that have nothing to do with this trial, sir? The defendant's life is on the line here. Well, the thing is, I couldn't really say that it's nothing to do with this trial, to be honest. Huh? I mean, there's no question that the man was shot, but the bullet had simply vanished from his stomach. It's quite inexplicable, don't you think? I almost don't want to ask, but this surgery you've been muttering about all this time, you were operating on... What was the fellow's name now? Herlick? No, Herlock? No, Hairlock. Herlock Sholmes, by any chance? Yes, good lord! I was in that Sherlock fellow! What? You're the surgeon that operated on Mr. Sholmes? That's right, using the very latest anesthesia techniques, might add. It's a fairly major op, I can tell you. This is crazy. Well, let me see. The fellow was brought in not long after the incident, or midnight if I remember correctly. And they said he'd been shot by some criminal or other, so I opened him up like a shot. But the funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb and couldn't find the bullet anywhere. I'm afraid that I had to throw up my hands and just stitch the fellow back up. I hate to state the obvious, but... Yes? Surely that's because the bullet is still at the scene of the shooting. The counsel of the defense is correct. It is clearly shown in the photographic print. The bullet hole that the Skulking brothers fired at Sholmes hit him in the stomach region. Then exited... Oh, that's his... Then exited his body and lodged into the shop wall where the calendar was hanging on by the door. I think you'll find it's really quite simple if you just consider the problem 3-dimensionally. Who do you think I am, son? Well, juror number 4 is the best I can do. As soon as I saw the wound in the man's stomach, I flipped him over. Like a pancake? Are you saying you checked his back? Of course I did. There wasn't a trace of injury. No sign of the bullet had left his body at all. What? That's the point. The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was still somewhere in the man's innards. Which is why I said about slicing him up. I'm still not the wiser even now. How many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain how it happened? Can somebody please solve the mystery? It's almost as much of a mystery as how this jury was put together. If you wear the bullet up is a infuriating one. Where's an expert when you need one?
Hold it!
Mr. Sholmes' surgeon is on the jury. I've experienced some coincidences recently, but this is ridiculous. I'm as surprised as anyone. There's no question that Mr. Sholmes was shot. Well, that was the police told me they brought him in. How bad were his injuries, Doctor? He was in a bad way. He'd lost a huge amount of blood, you know. It wasn't in the cutscene, but it was there. And I suspect he was shot at quite close range, too. Because his skin was badly burnt around the point of entry. There. As I said, I flipped the fellow over and examined his back. There was no sign of an exit wound. Which is why I thought it'd better locate the lug and look at pop it out. And yet you say you found no bullet inside the patient. Well, I wouldn't have done, would I? Because it's in the wall of the pawnbrokers. But how did it get there? I need someone to solve the mystery before it drives me insanity. If only there were some expert in ballistics who could help me, even if he looked extremely untrustworthy. We have a disappearing bullet on our hands.
Hold it!
What do you mean you're in for a busy day? Forgot to say stop. Do excuse me, stop. I'm a communications officer, stop. I'm a communications officer? Does that have something to do with sending telegrams? Everything from the personal message written by members of the public to the latest news of the capital. I convert all the messages into Morse code and tap it out to the entire world electronically. To the entire world? Thousands of miles under the sea, stop. Worldwide communication network, stop. Information transmitted to and from all corners of the globe, stop. Ah, yes. She was getting equally worked up about radio waves on the night before, wasn't she? I specialize in communication information from the government's departments and newspaper offices. I see. I'm sure I shall have to write the newspaper reports of today's guilty verdict later. So no sleep for me tonight, I imagine. Well, let's just finish the trial first, shall we?
Hold it!
I thought you were just a tourist. Good day, I am visiting London from sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. There's no way he's just a visiting tourist. So, you're a ballistics expert. Who knew? I have much experience with guns. Ah. I have lived through many, how do you say, extreme, violent bath of, blood of, extreme violent bloodbaths, perhaps. Ah, those extreme violent bloodbaths. English is a very difficult tongue. Considering the sort of people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue. Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There is nothing I do not know. No mystery I cannot solve. He's very confident in his knowledge of guns, that's for sure. But, if possible, only in Russian language. He's not very confident in his knowledge of English, though, is he? No, still, we should bear it in mind. He's our man if there's a mystery about guns or bullets. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Yes, I get it. You can stop saying that. I know that we're supposed to present him with the other guy. Van Zieks has managed to convince everyone. You've eliminated the impossible, he said. But he hasn't. We're going to fight back. We're going to need more material. We have to fight back. We have to turn this trial around again. Go to the last one, or at least to this one. Hit you against you.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other. Ooh, a ballistics expert. Pitying. P-I-T. On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the skulking brothers. But since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through it. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, a bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Sholmes was shot. Juror number 6. Hello, my name is Phelan. Pleased to meet you. This apparent contradiction in the facts that is so clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery? I have seen a very similar situation in Motherland. It was night. There was blizzard. I was running away along mountain road in freezing cold. I'm getting more and more Russian with this guy. It's going to be becoming indiscernible soon. Like, you wouldn't be able to understand what I'm saying. Wally! The snow was piling up high on both sides of the road. It's very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles, and they were on dog sleds. Mental note, don't ask too many questions. I was shot from behind. I fell down in snow. And this situation was very similar to what I hear today from Doctor. But they could not find bullets in my body. And no sign of, how do you say it, exit wound. And then where did the bullet go? The bullet never hit me. Well, if it never hit you, why did you fall down? The bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side. What? One small piece, very sharp, broke away from lump of ice and pierced body. It made deep wound that looks like the bullet hole wound. Good gracious! Of course, a piece of ice melted inside me. And that is solution to mystery of disappearing bullet. But that doesn't answer the question at all. Huh? The shooting happened in pawnbroker's shop. Not some snowy mountain road in another country. Just an idea, but we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here. Bruno, where exactly was Hurley shot again? Well, according to the report, in his stomach. Sort of around his area, I think. Well, that's precisely where he always wears a little pouch on his belt. Pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that. Yes, a pouch. It's where he keeps 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations. What? Really? Doctor, was there a pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing? Where is the pouch? Well, the fellow had nothing like that on his person when we arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember. If I may. Lord Van Zeeks? I realize it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation examination. I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the court. Sorry? As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, he's actually helping us in this situation. It's a little odd because he was kind of like, "You liar! You Japanese filth!" And now he's like, "Oh, but yeah, you want some evidence? Here you go, buddy." It's like, make up your mind. They removed the pouch in order to assess the wound. Thank goodness. I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment. Since then, it has been in my safekeeping along with all other evidence related to the case. I personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Very well, while extremely unconventional during a summation examination, I must demand the prosecution presents the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Sherlock Sholmes' pouch. I made him Sherlock Sholmes. I see. This is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes the night in question, is it? Look at that. One of the files is broken and the leather bound is scorched black. It's almost as if the file exploded. Exploded? So, that night, the bullet from the Skulking Brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch. It was the glass file exploding that caused the fellow's injury. This bullet did not penetrate the victim, but it was deflected into a wall of shot. A delightfully complex aroma. Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least. Although it has no bearing on the truth of this case. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective, and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of this case remain unaltered. Ugh. But at least the very mystery is solved. I can sleep easily tonight. Thank you, young man. Thank you very much. Glad I could help. Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will sequester this scruffy pouch as evidence. Hurley's pouch isn't scruffy. Jones's pouch has been entered. It was wearing around the waist at the time of the shooting. One of the glass vials is smashed and there are scorch marks around it. One of the vials probably has the bullet in it, doesn't it? Now the summation examination. It would appear the defense is somewhat struggling to alter opinion. Please, my lord, just a little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence. It could be a valuable clue, and you can't afford to overlook anything here, Rionosuke. Still a way to turn this around, somehow. I'm sure of it. These glass vials are full of Hurley's homemade potions. Homemade? Yes, like fingerprint powder to show up where people have touched things. And scent amplifying solution to intensify a smell lingering on an object. That's amazing. They're all very easy to use. They're just one thing that I have to be careful of. They're all very flammable. Mr. Sholmes is a walking bomb. Either he's passionate about finding out the truth, or just oblivious to the dangers. Oh, would you look at that? I was right. It's really scorched badly just here. Oh, the strap is broken. Look. It must be where the bullet hit then. Let me see. Iris, look! Behind where the broken file was. Do you see it? Ah, that's a Skulking Brothers bullet. What a stroke of luck that it hit his pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is there were 3 bullets fired at Winterbanks that night. Well, we found exactly what the juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet. It's time to press the juror again, I think. Yeah! And now we actually have the bullet. We can do bullet forensics. We can look at the marks and see what gun it came from. It's a bit advanced, but we can be the pioneers of this technique. This is where the 3rd bullet was lodged. Imagine what would have happened if it had pierced the leather. Thank goodness Mr. Sholmes is going to be alright. These are very thick leather if it was able to stop a bullet. Oh look, there's a hole here in the back. It doesn't look like a bullet hole, but clearly something's ripped through the leather with a great force. Something must have pierced it somehow and left this hole behind. Yeah, it looks that way. Mr. Sholmes and his pouch both took a beating, didn't they? Yeah, ballistic markings! So would that mean that he has glass inside his stomach still then? His file has been smashed to pieces. Presumably this is where the bullet struck. As soon as the bullet hit the chemical in that file, there would have been a really big explosion. A big explosion? Well, Hurley's potions and chemicals are amazingly useful to the investigation work he does. But they're also quite tricky to handle, safely at least. They're very dangerous. Oh, I'm sure that when his file broke, the chemical inside would have ignited. Note to self, always walk on the right-hand side of Sholmes in the future. The left is danger zone. Alright, well. Back we go. I believe I just present.
Hold it!
So press. Skip. I can prove it. Allow me to show you the 3rd bullet. Can I actually examine this? This is the bullet that was fired from the Skulking Brothers' gun at the night of the incident. Yes, so it turns out, it was never actually entered Hurley's body at all. Thanks to the thick leather on the pouch he was wearing, it saved him. Hurley's always lucky like that. Well, considering what he had to go through in hospital, I wonder how lucky he really was. Oh dear, poor Hurley. Look at this bump, like deformed. There's no mention of bullet markings. They suck. They don't know the future.
Take that!
Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Winterbank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired.
Hold it!
Interrupting. What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer? Where did you find that bullet? It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch. What? This pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes' waist before he was taken to hospital. And since then, it has been touched by no one. Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulking Brothers that night? Yes. As your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch. But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know where the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in the photographic print. 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted into the court record as evidence. Yes, that one of Mr. Winterbank, and that belonging to the Skulking Brothers. An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. Crikey, but that must mean... That's right. We know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. And until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somewhere explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Order! While this summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. Has been built. As is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. Oh, really? By Jupiter! What? Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once. We're shaking things up, lads. Witnesses. Governor! Were you listening to the proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination? We was, Governor, we was. Perhaps we could dispense with the tedious preamble and simply answer this one question. A third bullet was identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that? Make of it? Gov, nothing, I can help it. Is it one of yours? Oh, blimey, not a chance, Gov. In that case, did you have an accomplice? What? Never. This Skulking Bros work alone. Just the two of us. That's our trademark. How soon we forget poor Sulky? Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The third bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it? It's an head scratcher. Counsel for the defense. Yes? Should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet, and the mysterious missing firearm for whence it came. Thinking back over all the testimony we've heard, and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear that this third bullet tells us about the Skulking brothers. I'm going to say it has nothing to do with them. They were just there at the same time. I believe it has nothing to do with them. That's right. Yeah, nothing to do with us, Gov. We've established that one bullet was fired from each of the 2 guns already known to the court. The logical conclusion, therefore, is that on the night in question, at Mr. Winterbank's pawnbrokery, there was another person present in possession of a third firearm. Whilst the brothers may have had nothing to do with the third gun or the bullet fired from it, it's inconceivable that they had nothing to do with the third man. Yes, the brothers were working with an accomplice who was carrying a gun. That's not what I said. Okay. Accomplice, you say? Pigs. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations. Yet in all that time, there has not been a murmur of a third man. If this apparently wraith-like being exists, the court must show hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. The prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence, that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, the identity of this spurious character. Skulkings are lying, I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they were hiding? Well, counsel, I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice, reveal the person's identity, even in response to the prosecution's demands, my lord. The defense is ready. The defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands. So, my Nipponese friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be an interesting development. I'll just add that in. It just says this promises to be interesting. For some reason, I continued as though there was more. I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference. In that case, counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene? We're just going to be the blood thing.
Take that!
The evidence is right here, in this portfolio. By Jove, that portfolio again, is it? Do you expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of these blood samples proves the evidence impresses the third intruder. Well, which one is it? It's got to be either of these two.
Take that!
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar. That's a blood stain, my lord. Oh, blood stain. Green blood. Curious even for you. It's the court to understand that the intruder was some unhuman creature. It's something developed by Sherlock Holmes. By the great detective. New invention, stop. Not yet appeared in stories, stop. It's this, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger spray is a chemical that reacts with different elements in the people's blood to change its color. Different elements? Of people's blood? Yes, everyone's bullet is like... blood is... Everyone's bullets! I'm still on bullet markings because I read chat again. Everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is. Ooh. Crikey, that brings a whole dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom, stop. Very exciting, stop. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Wenderbank. A strange, striking blue. Yes, so you see, the green color of this bloodstain on the calendar shows us that someone else was shot in the main part of the shop. Oh, hold there. Hold fire, young man. Could be some unrelated incident, wouldn't it? No, it's not unrelated. The date shown on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Wenderbank was killed. Oh, by golly! Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot in the same day. Well, then whose blood is it? Well, the skulking brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot wounds. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else. The third intruder, in fact.
Objection!
Whose identity the court is still wanting to hear. You can't delay any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder?
Take that!
The man's name is Egbert Benedict. Egbert Benedict? Who on earth are you talking about, counsel? He paid a visit to Winderbank's pawnbroker on the afternoon before the incident took place. And the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker to release this article into her possession. That's right. You know the tier list is better one point. Tier list? What are you talking about? Sorry about not contributing to the chat. Also, that if I do only yap about then seek some mouthwash. Okay. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Egbert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. A broker. Yes, sir? I believe this filthy pickpocket thief has redeemed an article from you, no? This isn't his voice, it's just the memory things I'm making him funny. Yes, the article in question belongs to me. I demand it to be returned at once. No, that's a lie, don't you try to pull. Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel, and needless to say, any music box discs too. Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc. Do you corroborate this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord, that's more or less what happened. And in the interests of being thorough, I asked Winderbank for a print showing the fellow. Taken from one of this red-handed recorder's governors. Governesses. Yes, that's him talking to Mr. Winderbank that morning. And you claim this man is the brother's accomplice? Well, Mr. Skulkin, I've never seen the geezer before in my life. Oh, me life gone, my life. Never seen him. Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion. I'm sure your lordship recalls my learning in his friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, and I can. Then show us the evidence. Crikey. Push some shrimps on the barbie. I agree. We must see proof that the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is. This is the last piece of evidence. I had a feeling that something had been missing in this trial from the very start. But now, I'm going to drag it kicking and screaming into the courtroom. Are you ready to present your answer to the court then, counsel? Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now. Proof that the man pictured in this photographic print was in fact the person struck by the third bullet. I think I present this?
Take that!
As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully admittedly, to reclaim the disc from Winterbanks, which is when the aforementioned Eggert and Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no? That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred. Well, of course, sir. Here's the disc for you. Very well. And I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to the style. Wait a minute, that disc is mine. We are. Ah, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Being a music box disc, it had countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. These protrusions caused Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now. Goodness, a bloodstain, is it? My assistant and I have just analysed the bloodstain here in this very courtroom a few moments ago. Not now, but a few moments ago. Using my trusty fogger gun. Yes, and we've added the results to this portfolio. I say, it's green. It's exactly the same colour as the blood drawn on a calendar. Gina bit him and now he has rabies. Yeah, for sure. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Eggert Benedict, who was in Winterbanks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night. So there was someone else there. Looks like those brothers now, they're sweating buckets. Oi, what are you talking about? It's boiling in here. My lord, it is the opinion of the defense that Mr. Eggert Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify. It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence.
Objection!
It's gone on long enough now. This flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Sherlock Sholmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. Protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. A god of detection or some such. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastic person in the highest court of the land. Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstain turned a shade of Here's to you successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn the same colour. Well... Dramatic leg time! And pray, do not even think about suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. Is he right? Is Mr. Sholmes' concoction a load of rubbish? I don't know. I mean, he's a great detective. What are you talking about? We can't let him get away with that. He's doing the Phoenix Wright pose. I knew it'd come to this. Of course, Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body. But what other choice did I have? I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before. About how he was temporarily suspending the summation examination. In other words, examination isn't over yet, is it?
Oh, good grief. What did you just say, young girl?
In a summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's inventions. At least, not for now. Yeah, she's right.
Young lady, you have quite the devious mind.
It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Runo. Is that about right, would you say? Or did I misunderstand something? Unbelievable. Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with. Iris Wilson, sharpshooter.
After that shrewd precise of the situation, or precis, from an entirely unexpected source, it must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion.
This is absurd.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leanings in the matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I am sure you will come to a fair, just conclusion. So then, state your final decision in turn, please. Not guilty.
Yeah!
Not guilty.
Yeah!
Not guilty.
Guilty.
Oh, he's still guilty.
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Oh, wow. Why did he still go guilty when he know that... Whatever. Whee! I was actually thinking, are they if they're going to do a chance where, like, some people still say guilty. And they did. They just did it then. So
2 guilty and 4 called not guilty. Such is the outcome of the summation examination.
Objection!
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage.
The prosecution refuses to accept this decision. On what grounds?
These jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to police real police work.
Then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zeet, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. The trial will continue. Nevertheless, we found ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested a subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible.
What?
The name the gentleman gave for himself, Egbert Benedict, is quite clearly false.
No! I don't believe it. Just when I managed to prove that the man was there the night. Could I say something? Who is that, please?
Who spoke?
It was me, my lord. Juror number 5.
What have you to say, madam?
If possible, Inspector.
Me, ma'am?
I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again, the one in which the gentleman is shown.
Right, yes, this one, you mean? Oh, Mr. Benedict?
Yes. All right, I went too deep for her then. There's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5, you don't mean to say you know this man? Yes, I know him. What?
No. Good gracious. Order! Juror number 5, how on earth?
I'm a communications officer, stop. As we can clearly see, the gentleman in the photograph is stop. Is also a communications officer, stop. He works in my office, stop. And he's the one that's giving out the information to other parties. A very talented operator, in fact, stop. He should be in the communication station now, stop. Tapping away on the telegraph, stop. This doesn't seem right somehow. I
can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. I suppose we all imagine the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find one out that he's a respectable job by day, whatever he gets up to at night. Yeah, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I'm feeling something was wrong. No, more to it. If the gentleman is a London communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. And then arrest him for trying to steal something. Lord Van Zeeks, if you please. Yes, my lord. Make the necessary arrangements, and with all haste. As your lordship bids. The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witnesses arrive, we shall reconvene and hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson. Yes, my lord. I should like to hear from you specifically about events that the pawnbroker on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess, where we can talk. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m.
Woo! Yeah! Good job, everyone. Yay! To be continued. Oh God, my throat. Jesus, I ran out of water halfway through that, so my throat's like sore. Part 3. Right, that's been about 2 hours at least, right? Yeah. There we go. 12:40 p.m. Got a whole hour to wait. Alright, and that is where we will stop for today. Do not save. Yes. We shall pick this up on Thursday. So look forward to that, everyone. We're going to be continuing then and seeing what we can get up to and hopefully find out more about what's going on. Because there's a lot. Like, I didn't think we'd find out that one of the jurors would be like, oh yeah, I know that guy. He works as a communications agent. What? Really? Okay. But yeah, we'll see how things go out. He ends up coming out with a stand and tries to kill everyone because he wants a special mask that gives him powers. And the disc was actually the one that it activates the mask or something. But yeah, we shall pick this up on Thursday. Tomorrow, I'll be back with more Dying Light. We are continuing the following DLC. I made some decisions. I decided to just finish the DLC. Apparently, it's not that long. It's shorter than the main game, so it might only be a couple streams, but it's something. I do think that DLC is better. So, yeah, we'll be doing that tomorrow. Look forward to that. But as for today, thank you all for joining. Hope everyone enjoyed. If you have not already, like, follow, subscribe, notifications to know our next stream. Anyone else to help support me, there's links to Patreon and tips. And if you do, you can become a patron. You get your name added to the patron list here, where I give you a shout out in every stream, like I do with Thururu Kuni, Swordmaster37, and Rafatron 2000. I think with the continued support, I greatly appreciate you all. And we end up shooting someone with a third gun because we thought it was for fun, I guess. I don't know. That was a poor way of trying to end this. But yeah, anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all either tomorrow or Thursday for more of this. And yeah, until then, you'll take care. Have a nice rest of the day. Bye, Rafatron. Bye, Balleroth. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you all next time, whether it be tomorrow or next Great Ace Attorney.